Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivara Hari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Puja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Puja Vihari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Nitai Gaur Hari Gaur Hari Gaur Hari Gaur जय श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 3, Krishna is the source of all incarnations, text 11. Text 10 was on Lord Kapila. Text 11. Sashthamatrerapatyattvam Ritah prapto nasuyaya Anvikshikimalarakaya Prahalladadibhya uchivan Sashthamatrerapatyattvam Vrittah prapto nasuyaya Anvikshikimalarakaya Prahalladadibhya uchivan Sashthamatrerapatyattvam Ritah prapto nasuyaya Anvikshikim alarkaya Prahalladadibhya uchivan. Please recite. Sashthamatrerapatyattvam Ritah prapto nasuyaya Anvikshikimalarakaya Prahalladadibhya uchivan.
Sashthamatrerapatyattvam Ritah prapto nasuyaya Anvikshikim alarkaya Prahalladadibhya uchivan.
What word meaning, translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Sashtham, the sixth one. Atri of Atri. Apatyatvam, sonship. Ritah, being prayed for. Praptah, obtained. Anasuyaya, by Anasuya. Anvikshikim, on the subject of transcendence. Alarkaya, unto Alarka. Prahlad adibhya, unto Prahlad and others. Uchivan, spoke. Atri. He was born from the womb of Anasuya, who prayed for an incarnation. He spoke on the subject of transcendence to Alarka, Prahlad and others, Yadu, Haya, etc. Purport: the Lord incarnated himself as Dattatreya, the son of Rishi Atreya and Anasuya. The history of the birth of Dattatreya as an incarnation of the Lord is mentioned in the Brahmanda Puran in connection with the story of the devoted wife. It is said there that Anasuya, the wife of Rishi Atri, prayed before the Lords Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva as follows: My Lords, if you are pleased with me and if you desire me to ask from you some sort of blessings, then I pray that you combine together to become my son. This was accepted by the Lords, and as Dattatreya, the Lord expounded the philosophy of the spirit soul and especially instructed Alarka, Prahlad, Yadu, Hai, Haya, etc. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Dhyananjana Salakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swanrupah Tada Mahyam Dadati Sapadantikam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitantam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Raghunatasi Shakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namini Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratuse Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hare Priye Nilachala Nivasaya Nityaya Paramatmane Balabhadra Subhadrabhyam Jagannathaya Te Namaha Panchakalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So I seek the blessings of all the devotees so that I can speak on this verse, although unqualified and not such realizations. Still I am given this chance. So bless me. Hare Krishna. So this verse is in continuation of the series of incarnations Sutta Goswami is explaining to the sages, and very wonderful pastimes we are going to hear. We are hearing. Last class we heard about Kapil Dev's Sankhya philosophy. Before that Narayan Rishi's pastimes, and Narad Muni, 4 Kumaras. So one by one Lord's empowered incarnations or the Leela Avataras or Saktaves Avataras. So today's verse is talking about another special incarnation, and he is called Dattatreya. So I was reading 4th canto about Dattatreya. It is mentioned in the first chapter of 4th canto, in the chapter named Genealogical Table of Daughters of Manu. Swambhuva Manu had many daughters, so he was giving all these daughters to one sages, and like in that continuation the description of Atri and Anasuya comes, and how they got Dattatreya as their son is described. So in the purport it is written that how Mother Anasuya prayed to Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh that they become her son. And in the 4th canto it is also mentioned how Atri also did tapasya, and through his tapasya he pleased lords, and they appeared and granted him the boon that we will appear as your son. So there very interesting things are mentioned, that when Atri was doing, Atri Muni is a Manas Putra of Brahmaji. Brahmaji has many Manas Putras, like Atri is one, Vasishtha, the Sapta Rishis, basically they are all Manas Putras of Brahmaji, and they are very, very powerful sages. So one of them is Atri Muni, and Mother Anushya is also very austere and tapasvi. She is known for her chastity. So much so she became famous that the three energies, Parvati, Lakshmi and Saraswati, they became little, they developed some competitive mindset. So they sent their husband to test her chastity. So the story goes like this, that Brahma Vishnu Mahesh comes and gives darshan to Mother Anushya asking for alms to serve something. So she said yes, why not? But they set a condition that you must be without any dress when you render service. And Mother Anushya understood that some test is going on. So because she was so chaste, the moment she undressed, Brahma Vishnu Mahesh became little kids. All the three kids were naked. They themselves became naked child, just like in front of mother. A newborn baby has hardly an understanding of these things. So they don't want. So like that, Mother Anushya fed these three lords like her own sons and treated them very warmly with great love and motherly affection. And then she again put on the dresses, and then they took their original form, and they were very pleased that you are really great chaste lady. We were taking test. So please grant boon. So that time Mother Anushya asked. And fourth canto it is explained, when Atri Muni was also doing parallelly tapasya, he was standing in one leg with hand, just like we heard about pastimes of Dhruva Maharaj or the demons like Hiranyakashipu, they were also doing tapasya like that. So he was meditating on the absolute truth, who is the Paramatma and who is responsible for creation, who is responsible for maintenance, and who is responsible for destruction of the material world and things inside the material world, like the Brahmandas, planets. So whatever is created, maintained and destroyed, there are three principal energetic personalities, Purusas, and I am meditating on them. So like that he was meditating, but he was not clear that out of these three, who is the Supreme. So he was meditating on the Supreme Absolute Truth, through whom creation, maintenance and destruction happens. And by his meditation, Vishnu was pleased, and through Vishnu, Brahma and Shiva also become aware of that. And it was mentioned in the purport that Brahma and Shiva or any other devata, they do not directly bless. First they get sanction or they get indication by Lord. So in the purport, Prabhupada writes that it was Lord Vishnu who tells Brahma and Shiva, let us go. And all three of them appear. And then when Atri Muni opens his eyes, he was very happy to see the three personalities, Brahmaji, Vishnu and Lord Shiva, all three of them were there. He saw, so it was written that he was standing in one leg, and outside his hermitage or cottage, the three personalities came. One came in swan, that was Brahmaji. One came in bull, that was Lord Shiva. Another came in Garuda, and each had different item paraphernalia in their hands. Shivji was having a damaru, our Narayan Vishnu, he was having chakra, Brahmaji was having lotus. So in this way, all three of them came, and it was written because he was standing in one leg, with great difficulty with one leg he came out. It was written he came out with great difficulty to receive the guests. Then when he saw them, he fell like Dandavat, he did Dandavat, he fell like a stick, Danda, that is the meaning of Dandavat. And then he offered prayers, and after offering prayers, and he says that I am very much blessed by all of your association. And what then he says next is very surprising. He says, now all three of you may decide who is supreme among you, and then tell me, and from him I have a request, please bless me that I get a son similar to the one whom you finalize to be supreme. Now the three lords, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, says that according to your sadhana and meditation, all three of us are supreme. So we therefore will definitely grant you a wish to have a son similar to us. And because all the three of them blessed, Atri Muni became empowered to get sons, three sons. And it was written in the purport, Prabhupada writes, that Atri impregnated Anasuya through his tears. And then three children were born and three sons were born. The expansion of Vishnu was the super soul feature, the Paramatma feature, and it was, the name was Dattatreya. And the expansion of Lord Shiva became the famous Durvasa Rishi. And the expansion of Brahmaji became the moon god, Soma. So in this way, Soma, Dattatreya and Durvasa, they are brothers. And Dattatreya later also became a great preacher of mystic yoga and also Sankhya yoga and the science of soul, as Prabhupada writes in the purport of this sloka. And he was preaching. So one name is, so Yadus were preached by Dattatreya. That means in the same dynasty where Krishna will appear, his own expansion had come as Dattatreya and he has already given spiritual knowledge to the Yadus. He also gives knowledge to Haya Haya. क्या था लिखा है? Haya Haya ऐसे कुछ तो था. Haya Haya. So he is the father of Arjun, not this Arjun, Kartavir Arjun, who got 1,000 hands by his austerity. He pleased Brahma and he got 1,000 hands. He became, so there was one Sahasra Kavach, so he became Sahasra Bahu. And through that he was torturing, he became unrivaled king. And one time he stopped the flow of rivers with his 1,000 arms while enjoying with women. And like that he was torturing. So he had some problem with Parsuram and Parsuram finished him. And many other Kshatriyas, 21 times he destroyed the Kshatriyas in the earth, Parsuram. So his father Haya was given spiritual knowledge by Dattatreya. So in one of the cantos where I think Vritrasur pastime, where Indra is asking Vishwarupa about Narayan Kavach. So he was teaching Indra that powerful Narayan Kavach by which one is always protected. So Narayan Kavach basically consists of nothing but names of Lord Krishna and mantra Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya and then many other names. And they have to be chanted with meditation. Om Nama Vasudevaya. So it was written that one should meditate Om through the head, Nama through the mouth, like that. Different syllables, different body parts he has to meditate through that. So very technically it is mentioned, beyond my ability to understand them. And then while explaining various names, Vishwarup says to Indra that one should meditate on Dattatreya so that one does not fall down in spiritual life. So stability in bhakti is given by Dattatreya. So Dattatreya therefore is a very prominent personality in the avatars of Lord, and he is explained in line with the preachers like Narad Muni, Kapila. So Dattatreya also, although he is himself Swamsa, Krishna has two types of incarnation, Swamsa, Vibhinnamsa. Swamsas are directly Vishnu Tattvas. Vibhinnamsas are like empowered incarnations, Narad Muni and Prithu Maharaj and Parsuram, all this, they can be Vibhinnamsa. Brahmaji, so they are Vibhinnamsa. So Dattatreya is not a Vibhinnamsa, he is Swamsa. Another lesson that we can learn here about the austerity performed by the Atri Muni and Anasuya, Mata Anasuya is that without austerity one cannot create something meaningful, or the creation will not have stability. Just like we hear, Lanka was found by the envious battle between two personalities, Vasuki and Vayudev. Some devatas were having a debate, just they were having some prajalpa, And in the course of Prajalpat, they were talking that Vayudev is not much powerful, and the other Devata is telling, no, Vayudev is powerful. So the other one is saying, no, Vasuki, the snake, is more powerful. And Vayu is hearing because Vayu is everywhere. So he becomes manifest. He said, I will prove who is strong. So he took that conversation very seriously. And he goes and challenges Vasuki. Let us have a fight. And then Vasuki and Vayudev, they made this challenge that Vasuki will coil itself around the Mandara hills, which is golden. The whole mountain is gold. This description bewildered the faithless people. The gold is so costly, but when you read Bhagavatam, there is ocean of honey, ocean of milk. In one class, when it was said, someone said, if ocean of milk is there, how many cows were required? Where did so many cows? I think in one of the class, Akash was explaining to some boy, asked him this question. He was explaining him about creation, cosmology. So he said that there is an ocean of milk. So the boy asked, how many cows were required and how did the cows come first? So these are something inconceivable things. Ocean of liquor. And we say that it is breaking four evolutive principle if someone takes liquor. Just imagine someone living near the shore of ocean of liquor. They are getting 24/7 supply. So we are in ocean of salt water. So we don't have to compare ourselves with the residents of people living near ocean of liquor. So anyway, so this golden mountain, this Vasuki coiled itself around golden mountain. And Vayudev said, now you hold this with a tight grip and I will prove that I am stronger by throwing you away, and I will loosen your grip, and this will be a proof that I am stronger than you. And then Vasuki is holding with very tight grip, it is holding the golden mountain, and Vayudev is pushing Vasuki away from the mountain. And Vasuki is not leaving. Its grip, sometimes it may appear getting loosened, but it was not loosening. Again it was tightening further. In this course of activity, the mountain is thinking, what mistake did I do? Why I am getting crushed between the envious battle between these two people? And it so happened that finally none of them were ready to give up, and by the pressure of Vayudev and the grip of Vasuki's coils, a portion of the mountain broke off and it fell, and that place was given as the ownership of that. It became a big land, a big area, so much so that a kingdom can be made there, and it was handed over to Kuber. And later his own brother Ravan kicked Kuber out of that place and ruled that place, and that became known as Lanka. And because we see that the entire region of Lanka was made because of the envious battle, the product was that whoever lived there, they were whom? The envious Asuras. Ravan was so envious. So the product of envy will also be pervading the creation, or in other words, the consciousness before the creation pervades the created. So one who has created it with envy, therefore the people living there had such kind. Therefore we describe in Ramayana that Ayodhya is known for Sanskriti and Kiskindha is known for Prakriti, and Lanka is known for Vikriti. There is full mall practice going on in Lanka. Someone was telling that, I think Suhilas Pru's book, it was mentioned that Ayodhya is also systematic, Lanka is also systematic, but people in Lanka, they were systematically doing self-gratification and looting, robbing people. In every home you will find some looted property of some devata in Lanka. And therefore when Hanumanji was insulted in the streets of Lanka, when he was taken to the palace of Ravana, Hanumanji was noting which all people are making faces, because my job is unfinished. After meeting Ravana, I will take care of all of your faces. Therefore, after Ravana burned the tail of Hanumanji, he comes out and he starts to, burn all the homes, and he especially remembers which all people sowed the faces. He breaks their faces, burns their faces, and then and it starts raining. So he becomes angry that why is Indra making this injustice? I am trying to threaten Ravana, and these people, Indra, I am helping him only, but he is raining water. Then Indra says, see carefully, this is not water, this is oil which is raining. So it is igniting the fire more, and in this way Hanuman served. So in that way gradually the Lanka people got purified from the envious, the all-pervading envy against God. So Atri Muni shows that without tapasya, because he is given the responsibility by Brahmaji to create progeny. Creation of progeny is, or any type of creation, requires sattva guna, consciousness, and for that one should do tapasya properly. Otherwise, like when Rudras were starting creation, Brahmaji was disturbed. What did you create? No, stop creation. Don't preach now. This type of preaching is not required. That they are only coming to attack me. First go and do some tapasya. So Atri Muni is doing tapasya, and through that tapasya he pleased. So whatever type of consciousness we have, our austerities that we perform becomes like a container to convey the consciousness to the higher powers. And when austerity is not there, the consciousness is diluted in sense gratification and in so many other distractions. And in every parampara, there are different types of tapasya mentioned. So for us, there is very simple tapasya. Atrinadapi sunichena tarodapi sahishduna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. We have to become humble, we have to become tolerant, we have to be ready to honor, give all respects, and we should not expect respect from others. These are the four tapasya Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given. And just like the tapasya done by Atri Muni allowed himself to get the darshan of lords, the tapasya done by Atri Muni allowed him to have Lord as his similar to a son similar to Lord. Prabhupada writes in the purport that Atri Muni's desire was not pure devotional, and he gives the reason that when he was telling that I want a son similar to you, he did not speak that out of Vatsalya Prem for the Lord, but he spoke that as a desire to possess a child very powerful like the Lord. So he was more attracted to the power of the Lords, and Prabhupada writes that this is not a pure spiritual desire. Like one should not compare the Lord appearing as Dattatreya to be a same level of devotional service as Lord granted the boon to Vasudeva and Devaki, or Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda, or Kaushalya and Dasarath, or Sachi Mata Jagannath Mishra. So they having Lord as their son and Atri Muni having Dattatreya as son, there is a difference. Prabhupada writes that Dattatreya was having more pious material desire, and by that he pleased Lord. So anyway, even for that he had done tapasya, and in our Gaudiya Parampara, our main tapasya is to be more humbler than the blade of grass. Most difficult thing, no matter how many times a person decides, after few hours one forgets, I was supposed to be humble, I was supposed to be tolerant. Right after telling I should be tolerant, we become intolerant. And then there is so many conflict, small or big scale, different scales with different people, equals, senior, junior. With everyone we express arrogance and intolerance, disrespect and expectation of lot of respect. All the opposite qualities of the four austerities Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has asked. In one of the lecture, one Maharaj was telling, these four qualities that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has asked us to develop, they are like four levels of exam. And the Trinadapi Sunichana is the first exam. So one can still clear that by taking some humble service. One can take the service of cleaning toilets, one can take the service of cleaning floors, and some background services where he will not be in the front. So he may take up some service and do some. So menially he can still pass the exam of being humble. And then Maharaj was telling that next more difficult is to tolerate, because even if he with humility or so-called humility one tries to render service, he is not going to be free from feedbacks. The feedbacks will come whether he does his best or he does his worst. So when feedback comes, how we take that feedback, that time our tolerance is tested. Sometimes we blast, how can someone give me feedback? Especially expected feedback, if that doesn't come, we become very angry. It was not cooked up to the mark. This is exactly the opposite of the feedback I was expecting. So let's say I cook pasta and out of 12 devotees, 10 devotees appreciated. I will have no problem. That time I will feel I am very tolerant because everybody is appreciating. And this feedback is easy to tolerate. But someone says, today's pasta was not that much good. That time volcanic eruption comes. How did he comment like this? And somehow the entire body language talk goes to somehow defend myself from that feedback. So tolerating feedbacks or any type of, basically we have to tolerate insult. Today in the morning book reading, it was written Prithu Maharaj will be a bad conductor of this type of dualities, insult and honor. He will be udasin, it was written there. Udasin means he will behave neutrally towards praise or insult. He will not take such things very seriously. So this is not so easy, being humble, tolerant. So that Maharaj was telling that there is a second exam, but still one may tolerate with some hard work, one may develop by at least trying to tolerate by not speaking out, at least by silent practice, by practicing silence, mauna, he may tolerate. Then he says, much difficult exam is Trinadapi Sunijana, Tarurapi Sahusnana, Amanina, to not expect respect. So one, after doing humble service and tolerating feedbacks, one may start to expect some honor. At least someone should recognize that last 1 month I was the person who was keeping the toilet clean. Why people are not recognized? If someone should recognize I was cleaning the prasadam hall after the breakfast, after the lunch, after the dinner, I was responsible for getting the sound system upgraded. Someone should recognize. Why nobody is telling about this? Some hint has to be given. Bro, how the sound is nowadays? Is it good compared to the sound system of last year programs? If he says no, it was very good. Okay. So still not satisfied, because still now he has not asked who has upgraded this. So there is a silent expectation. So Maharaj was telling that this is more tough exam. And he says the toughest exam is to respect others. Hare Krishna. By heart, to offer respect is very difficult. Because for that to be genuine, because ingenuine buttering flattery is very easy. And in our movement we have seen that. Prabhuji has turned on the mixie and turned off the mixie. Hari bol for him, because he has grinded the tomato. One devotee. Because we were told that when first years are coming, you have to encourage them. No, whatever little one senior was telling that if there is no service, take a glass of water and throw it in the floor, and then engage the junior to mop the floor, and then tell Hari bol. If you say Hari bol like that, he will be very encouraged. So this type of encouragement will help the person sustain his interest in Krishna consciousness. So this type of respect is not Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling, that somehow create some respect. Oh Prabhuji, you are so nice. Although you are looking like so much ugly, but Prabhuji, you are looking so nice. Somehow we have to speak. One small service, Prabhuji, this is the devotee who is responsible for moving the leaf that has fallen from the mango tree from this part to the dustbin. 3 times Hari bol for this Prabhu. He has cleaned this place so nicely. So genuine respect is very difficult because that will require conscious meditation on the good qualities, and that cannot happen when we have done that properly before we start speaking something about a person. Therefore, when glorification session happen, it takes time to speak genuine glorification, because that has to be supported with proper case studies or examples. You know, in one of the glorification session in our college spiritual classes, we were asked to glorify. So when I was asked, I was telling this devotee is very humble, he is very tolerant, he is very caring, and it finished in 2-3 statements. And the senior was guiding, he was telling me that this is not how we glorify. He was telling that before telling the quality, you should first tell the incidents. And then he was telling about another devotee. It was an actual fact that how one devotee had his phone discharged. So his charger was not with him. So he was asking that does anybody has this type of B-type charger? And there was a B-type charger. And this devotee was telling, Prabhuji, here is a charger, why don't you charge? He said, no, who is the owner of this charger? He will come in 10 minutes. So he said, I will wait for 10 minutes, then I will take his permission, then only I will put that mobile in charge. And then this devotee was telling that I was so impressed by the integrity of this person. So he was telling, like that we should glorify. You should identify the pastime, you see the activity, behavior, and then note it down, meditate. Then when you speak, people will relate. Otherwise, if you say, Hari Bol, he turned the mixer grinder on and off, and he is responsible for the tomato paste used in today's pasta. So this is therefore most difficult to offer genuine respect, because most of the time by default our attention is how this person is not perfect. Kalir dos nidhe rajan. In the ocean of faults, which is so much prominent in Kali Yuga, we take the pleasure in only highlighting the faults, and in fact, unfortunately, in our so-called light moments, when we do some chit-chatting or we try to crack some humor, most of the times the humor is driven by faults. How this devotee this devotee is very creative in sleeping in Japa. And we discuss the varieties of sleep during Japa. And then that gives the rasa beyond comparison compared to the rasa obtained by glorifying. Instead of hours together we can sit and discuss how back in 5-7 years ago one devotee slept like this and another devotee did like this. He woke up, he was in a shock. And so one devotee, when he sleeps, it appears he is reading Ajan. And then other devotees are thinking where this sound is. So it's very difficult. It's very easy to discuss faults and then create a very humorous and light environment, but very difficult to create a genuine glorification. Therefore, it requires lot. Nindadi sunne hridam ipsita sanga labdha. So, such a devotee is a very high class devotee. Uttam slok. Uttam adhikari. Uttam adhikari means nindadi sunya. His heart is free from any type of ninda. So this will be actually these are the parameters of judging our progress in Krishna consciousness. That how much we are relishing Krishna consciousness, or how much we are relishing the faults in the devotees of Krishna. So that is not a big deal. And when something is some faults are there which is very difficult to tolerate, we don't have to make it a public show of it and unnecessarily create a display and zoom in those faults and show to the world, here are the mistakes. These are not something new, these are there. There is a rational way of dealing with such things. Like we have this seminar of not finding fault, getting Vaishnava offense, Vaishnava Aparadh. There is one session that happens in VTWs. So there it is explained that if we want to speak someone's fault, we should verify various steps within ourselves. First, is it my right to discuss his faults, Second, it is said that, am I in the right attitude to talk about his fault? Like, I just want to discuss his faults to enjoy the person's shortcoming, or I want to help the person, I want to help the community, or I just want to somehow satisfy my personal aggrandizing, my personal grievances. So, what is the purpose for which this fault is coming in my mind? Why I want to speak about it? So, first, right of right. Is there any right? Adhikar. Do I have the adhikar? Second, do I have the right attitude? And third, is it the right time? And fourth, is it the right way? So many layers we are taught, and we only make those classes nicely noted in our notebooks, and then those notebooks are only the food for worms. Very difficult to practice. So these are the small steps. If we actually apply, it will help us, and better we can focus on each other's good qualities, and we should not first correct others. Prabhu, don't find faults. Let us ourselves check within ourselves. I was very happy a few days back, some devotees, they were talking during the prasadam about how to chant nicely. It was discussed that how it was a warning type of talk. It was said in that discussion, this point came out that if we are not attentive, we may not be chanting 108 Mahamantras during our chanting. We may be chanting 90 mantras, 95 mantras. Therefore, we should be very alert. And when we chant the rounds, we can, to do the experiment whether we are chanting 108, we can keep a counter in our left hand. Sometimes separately during the morning chant, other than the morning chanting, we can test ourselves. So that will make us very aware. And therefore, best is we can chant always 1 or 2 rounds extra before going to sleep. So this kind of discussion when happens in a group, everybody feels nourished, and when someone speaks like that, we develop a lot of respect. My Lord, he is so alert about these type of things. We should also be very alert. Then when we sit, sometimes many good discussions happen, like how that devotee is very simple-hearted. He doesn't much bother. He just does the service. He is not into much drama. Prabhuji, I am not qualified, I am qualified. He doesn't speak much. If he is given service, he does. And then when he is living like that, although he is far from association, just by hearing lectures, how he is sustaining himself. So this type of glorification of other devotees. One time when a devotee was sharing that how one devotee has completed entire Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam 9 cantos, and he happens to be one of our equals, and it is so encouraging. So one devotee was telling, he has come to 10th canto, I will also come to 10th canto, and I will have a competition, and soon I will move, I will cross him. And in these are the ways we can discuss. And so both type of, we have seen both the environments. When we have discussed in the name of humorous environment the faults of others, and the environment where we have discussed glories of other devotees, and we have personally felt very nourished. So these 4 things Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given, they are very deep, and they are like the foundation for sustaining the Mahamantra in quality. Like quality chanting can happen when our life is having the foundation of these 4 pillars: Trinadapi, Sunichena, Tarorapi, Sahishnuna, Amanina, Manadana, and then Kirtana Sada Hari can happen. But what to do? These qualities are not there. So I was thinking that how the bhakti is so beautiful. These are connected. If someone has the 4 qualities, he can chant 24 hours. But if someone doesn't have, they can be cultivated, and the process of cultivation is chanting the holy name. So it is cyclic. We chant, we develop the qualities, we chant better, and therefore it continues. His Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhu in one of the classes he was telling the example of a jinn, that when a person lifts the weight, he lifts according to his present muscle power, and gradually by weight lifting his muscles develop, and he lifts more weight, he develops more muscle power, he develops more weight. In this way, with whatever level of these 4 things we have, amanina manadinam, sahishnutta or sunichena, all these qualities, whatever level we have, with that we can focus on chanting the holy name, and we should have a desire, because we see Krishna is very specific about desire. If Dhruva Maharaj desired a world greater than Brahma, Krishna did not ignore that desire. Atri Muni was confused, who is God? He took care of that desire. He allowed all the three personalities to come and expand themselves as his son. So when we also desire these four qualities, although we will not have it, or we may have it in some small levels, and then we chant the holy name, then we will develop that desire, because Krishna will reciprocate. He is the God of reciprocation. Ye yatha mam prapadyante. But Prabhupada warns, like few days back the lecture Srila Prabhupada gave, he was warning that the only thing required is be sincere and do not try to cheat. I think Prabhupada was speaking, or Guru Maharaj's lecture was there. I think Guru Maharaj was telling that don't try to cheat. In the name of Krishna consciousness, don't do sense gratification and cheat. If you are sincere, then no matter who you are, what you are doing, you will make very nice progress, and it will be shown after years, and people will recognize that, and everything will be judged at the time of leaving the body. Who is what practice we did. Did I do acting for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, whatever years we survive in Krishna consciousness, or we actually did genuine bhakti, it will be shown. So austerities in Krishna consciousness are very simple, but they require sincerity. Simple things require sincerity to practice, otherwise we only complicate our life with ugly things. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitya Gaur Premanande, Hare Hare. Jai Prabhupada.